Hi, I'm Blood Moon, and this is Jinx the Wolf. This is my 1-year anniversary of being a furry, and it all started here at Painted Desert FurCon here in Phoenix, back in 2024. But this is 2025. But in today's video, we're gonna look back at the past year that I've had as a furry, and as a fursuit maker. So where did it all begin? How did I even become a furry? Well, it all began here at PDFC in 2024. My daughter asked me to attend the Painted Desert FurCon with her and her friend Soka, a Dutch angel dragon. I'm sure the pause, no pun intended, and blank stare my daughter received were a little bit disconcerting, but what was going through my mind was flashbacks to that super weird CSI episode. You know the one. But let's be real, I'm not a complete idiot. I know that really the media portrays all sorts of things in a negative light, or really to suit whatever narrative they want. So I researched it a little bit and saw that really this fandom is full of beautiful people that really just like having fun. So I figured, why not? Let's go see. And I'd say one of the most anticipated events of every FurCon is the dance competition. And with our friend Soka competing, of course that's about all I heard about for a week or two prior to the con. But she did not disappoint, and neither did the dance competition. To this day, it's still one of my favorite events. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that PDFC planted the seed in my mind that, furry isn't all that bad. So what's next? Well, obviously finding a fursona. After a little bit of research, I kind of fell upon the circle. I just really liked its shape and its design. Overall, I had ideas, but I just didn't know what they were, so I tried sketching them out. And I didn't do so hot, so I asked my daughter to help me out with the coloring just a tad bit. So, after a little bit of design work, we came up with a plan. As an engineer, of course I was going to make my own fursuit. I just didn't really know what I was doing, but figured I could fumble my way through. And considering, I think I did a pretty good job for my first. In all, it took me about 3 weeks to complete Blood Moon's head. With that project about done, I knew that I needed to set my sights on basically making all the accompanying items like a tail and paws and stuff like that. So over the next few months, that's what I worked on, kind of getting Blood Moon to this point here, where I had pretty much everything that I wanted. With Blood Moon pretty much done, I was beginning to itch for a new project. Enter Hypnotic Circle. So my overall plan with Hypnotic was really just to continue practicing the craft and take me out of my comfort zone a little bit. I like to be a little bit more reserved and kind of blend into the background, not really take the attention. But Hypnotic, he was going to be a little bit more flashy, a little bit angrier, moodier. One of the additional goals I had with Hypnotic was trying to work with more patterning in the fur. It wasn't just a little bit here, a little bit there. It was a very consistent, lots of little pieces, trying to get that kind of dialed in. What needed to be done? Can I machine sew? How much seam allowance do I need? And can I just work on consistency and balance and trying to get that symmetry right? But I did make a few mistakes, but overall, I had a whole lot of fun making him. He definitely got that moodier look into him. And as July 2024 rolled around, we proceeded to Anther Weekend, Utah, where Blood Moon was making his debut performance, and he was going to be finally seen by the world. What an amazing time this was going to be. I couldn't wait. All I had to do was, wait, I have to see? This is bad. I can't see kids, I can't see door frames. Where is a door? Oh no. Well, this sucks. Let's go! Now the one thing I gotta say about AWU is they really knew how to put on a show. It's hard for me to get engaged and really enjoy opening ceremonies, but these guys really knew how to do it. And they stuck to the theme. It was super enjoyable. I have to go back again. So who is this we I keep talking about? Well, that's my daughter, Battery. She's the purple bat with green ears. Her boyfriend, Nox, he's the dragon. He likes hitting people with his tail. But then of course we have the OG furry of the group, Sun Hollow, who you might recognize as Soka from the first few minutes of the episode, and she's the dancer of the group. Remember how I said I couldn't see? Well, that was a door frame. I pretty much walked into it, but overall, I used my left eye just to kind of keep an eye on the guy in front of me because, well, couldn't really see much of anything. But despite all that, I had a great time. I was able to make it through the parade, give high fives to the little kiddos, which there were a ton of them at AWU, so lots of tripping hazards. But despite not being able to see, I had a great con. There were about 2,500 attendees, and you can see me way in the back there, but hey, this was my first real con as a furry. I couldn't ask for anything more. Another couple projects I worked on this year were those of Jinx the wolf. So, at the start of the video, I introduced you to Jinx. This is her in her current state, and her first convention was back here in PDFC 2025, about a week ago. Her story begins back in March, when I revealed to some family friends that I was a furry. Well, a couple days later, I received this picture of their daughter who had made a fursuit out of cardboard. Well, this gave me a great idea. Maybe I should work with her to make a fursuit. And the daughter was totally on board, so that's what we started on. And this is a product that we came up with. Now I'll admit, I never really actually liked how this was coming together. The suit was built off a realistic base and was going for more of a toony style, so the two just kind of clashed. So on the way home from AWU, I reached out to Jinx and said, you know what, I think I want to remake Jinx. I can't get behind this design, I don't feel it's you, what do you think? And she totally agreed. I don't think she really liked it either. Something just felt creepy with it. So once again, I started working with my daughter to sketch up the design that Jinx and I had talked about. This was kind of a general idea that we decided upon, and of course, I made a few modifications along the way. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Jinx and I both fell in love with the new one. She turned out beautifully. But what happened to the old Jinx? I know, I'm probably getting hate comments as we speak, but Jinx was built on a pretty brittle plastic, and I just really didn't like it. You can see the way it explodes. I just don't trust that on a fursuit mask. On Jinx 2.0, I built it on a very flexible plastic called TPU, so when it gets crushed, it just rebounds and doesn't shatter. Okay, we gotta watch this one more time, but as sad as it should be for me to watch this, I oddly find it quite satisfying. It's just, wow. I am so glad she's gone. I think I'm somewhat comforted by the fact that Jinx exists in a new, much better form, and I am so happy with how she's performed. Compared to the original, the new Jinx is superior in every way. The aesthetics have greatly improved, the wearability is superb, you can see pretty much everything, and the ventilation is just top notch. Overall, I'd say this thing just is a good performer. I think I'm going to learn a lot between now and doing the next one, but I'm pretty happy with how this guy turned out. Overall, we walked about 3 hours throughout the city, and she never had to take the head off once. With the completion of AWU, I was itching for another con pretty much right away, but I didn't know what there was, so I started looking around to see what might be nearby. And that's when I stumbled across another FurCon, or AFC. It was happening in Ontario, California, about 5 hours away from my house, and since everybody else was in college, I decided to venture out on my own and go explore. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from this con, being its first year, but man was I wrong, this thing was amazing. This is one of those cons that I just have to go to every year from here on out. I had so much fun here, all by myself. I got to meet amazing people, and it is now still the largest con that I've been to up to this point, with about 3,500 attendees. I won't lie, I was a bit apprehensive standing in line waiting for the con to begin. It took about 3 hours to get through registration, and in the end I was kind of questioning whether it was the people that I hung out with that made the cons fun, or do I actually enjoy being a furry? Well, this con pretty much proved that I really actually enjoyed being a furry. It wasn't just the people, however, they helped amplify the fun. So one thing I failed to mention is that right before AFC, I decided to rebuild Blood Moon, and I completed it about 2 days prior to going. So, AFC was going to be my test bed to see whether this update was worth it. And let me tell you, it was. I was able to see out of the right eye, which right off the bat doubled my vision, but I also increased the size of the eye holes, so all in all, that was a huge upgrade. And for a little bit of peace of mind, I also printed it out in that TPU, so it was fairly flexible. Overall, I gotta say the fit, the finish, and overall aesthetics really kept just about the same as the 1.0 version. Going to AFC was a bit of a bonus that I hadn't really planned on at the start of the year, but what we had planned on was going to Arizona FurCon, so kind of another AFC, but I'll refer to AZFC. So I didn't really have very high hopes for the con, as I'd heard rumors of it just being poorly managed and just wasn't really keeping up with the times. And about 2 weeks prior to the con, it was announced that this was going to be its final year. But all of that was undone about a week after the con, when it was announced that somebody was taking it over under new management. Well, despite some of the shortcomings of this con, I'll say I actually had a really good time. There were some things that they did really well, and then there were obviously some things that just needed some improvement that they just didn't keep up with over the years. But all in all, I had a great time and got to know a lot more of the local furries. With Halloween just around the corner, Battery, my daughter, and I decided to go visit the Vulture City Ghost Town in Wickenburg, Arizona. This is going to be my first time going public shooting because, well, they were allowing Halloween costumes.
What I'm doing to you, Pat. Sorry, what were you saying about noses?
Yeah, they're kind of long, like the nose it sticks out.
You look like a triangle.
I am a triangle.
You are geometry.
I am so aerodynamic. I'm like isosceles.
Isn't he like a scholar? Oh, Aristotle? Isosceles? I'm not that okay.
Pythagorean theorem?
The isosceles.
Is a right triangle. So triangular.
One went faster than us.
Yeah. Just triangular.
Me too, like. Hi. How's it going, ghost people?
Don't make me laugh, I'm gonna vomit in here. I said don't make me laugh.
I'm sorry, but it's the cheese with the bottle down its throat.
And then, just a couple days later, we found ourselves at Halliball, a fursuit meetup over in Mesa, Arizona, just across the city. Well, this was a great time because it was the second time I've been able to go out public shooting, if you don't count Halloween. But all in all, it was really just kind of all about the gathering and having a good time with everybody, and trying out our skills as bowlers with a fursuit, which took a little practice to get used to. But all in all, it was a great time. We probably had the first 10 lanes for the fursuit meetup, and then the rest of the bowling alley was just open to the public, so definitely caught a few glances. And what good is any fursuit meetup, or con, without the obligatory fursuit photo at the end? You know, you gotta have these. By the way, PDFC 2025, we're still waiting for the photo. And it's finally the end of December, and you know what that means? It's time to pick up Jinx from Colorado. As we make our trek across the southwest, we find ourselves in Monument Valley and get to stop by Trollmater's spot in Moab, Utah. It's a couple days after Christmas now, and we're about to make our way down into the valley so we can go meet Jinx and her family for breakfast, and finally reveal to her Jinx. This is the first exposure that she's had to Jinx, and I'll tell you what, the smile on her face was to die for. But it's finally time for us to head south and go back down to Arizona to go to PDFC. This will be her first con, and my 1-year anniversary of becoming a furry. As we start making our way down the hall, I can feel the excitement building, not only for her, but also for me, as this was a new opportunity for me. I've never brought in a new fur into the fandom, but here I was. Now I won't lie, the anxiety was beginning to mount. I wasn't sure, I've never brought in a new fur. Is she gonna enjoy it? Am I? Is this con gonna just suck and neither of us are gonna have a good time? You never really know what you're gonna encounter, but here it is, our opportunity to find out, to make the best of it. So did we have fun at PDFC? Absolutely. We did VR, where we were able to make sandwiches together. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but oh my goodness, it was so much fun. And then after that, we went to the nothing room, where we stood around and did nothing. People had a good time. We got to witness one of our local furs propose to their partner, and she said yes. The next day, there was a furry wedding. And you know our friend, Sun Hollow? Look at her dance away. Well, this time, she walked away with second runner-up, or third place. A week later, looking back, I think the thing that stuck with me the most, and that I had the most fun with, was just going out and exploring the city. Phoenix is a beautiful city that was welcoming, and was just a ton of fun. So, with that said, Jinx had a great time as well, and now we're looking at going to Furry Week in Atlanta in May. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing the video. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.